To get a decently equipped daily driver nowadays would cost you upwards of $40,000. For example, the most famous daily driver of them all today, Tesla Model 3. Autopilot and all that whole sensing package alone is $7,000 above the base price. And then if you want to get all-wheel drive, that's a few grand more. So even for that car, if you want to get a decent priced model or a decent equipped model, you're always going to be looking at upwards of $40,000 to $50,000, and that's not really, I don't think that's normal people money, if you follow what I'm saying. Normal people don't have $50,000 to spend on a car, nor are they willing to make payments on a $50,000 car. They can, however, make payments on a $10,000 car. That's what this is. Hey guys, Neal Solo here. Welcome to the best daily driver video, and today I'm going to talk about somewhat of a life hack that applies to pretty much anybody who's in the market to get a new car or a new used car. Let's get started. So I titled this video the best daily driver that you can get because of the fact that as I was driving around town and I noticed, more and more Teslas are popping up and more luxury cars are popping up. There are newer models. I did a little bit of research and I realized that you can get a lot of the same features that newer models have in some older cars for pretty much a fraction of the cost. So what is it? What's the best car? And it's this. A 2013 BMW 328 Xi, and there's a number of factors that make it my favorite car right now. On the surface, it might not look like much, but let's dig a little deeper. For example, beautiful BMW silhouette that we're all used to. You have all-wheel drive, leather seats, infotainment system, the whole nine. Now, even though this is a daily driver where it might not matter too much, we can still go down the specs here. You have 240 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque. You have BMW's N58 straight 4 turbocharged engine. You have the electric power steering, which doesn't really feel electric. It feels really connected to the road, and it just has the right amount of tug and pull to the point where it's satisfying to drive. Now, obviously, when we're talking about daily drivers, right, you gotta talk about how accessible it is and comfortable and convenient it is. And this is all of those things, and it does all of these things extremely well. You have a pretty big size trunk, or a boot if you want to call it. You can easily fit 5 people in the car. Leather seats, heated seats front and back. You have the infotainment system, you have navigation. So the car makes your life a little bit more convenient because it has the space and the room and accessibility to store groceries, store people in there, as well as it gets 70 to 25 miles per gallon. It's no Prius, obviously. It's definitely not an electric car, but it still gets the job done. On top of that, in my opinion, I think this is the best daily driver because it's a driver's car. Not an M3, but it still ticks all the boxes in terms of speed, handling, and you can actually switch between specific modes. Eco, Pro, Comfort, and Sport mode, depending on how you want to drive in that particular moment. So it's fun when it needs to be, and it's comfortable when it needs to be as well. And obviously, being a daily driver, you don't want the car to be too aggressive or too harsh on the road, but you don't want the car to be boring and slow as well. And this car, in my opinion, fits right in the happy medium between those two. Now, how does it drive day to day? Luckily, I live in a city type of environment where there's a lot of stop and go traffic, a lot of stoplights, a lot of small intersections and small streets. And I also have a long interstate highway that's fairly close to me as well. So let's go on a quick ride and see how it performs. Now, how is it in normal city driving? Here I am in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I'm going to be driving around. This car has an interesting feature where it has the automatic engine cutoff, where you're sitting idle in traffic and it automatically shuts off the engine. And when you're ready to pick your foot off the brake, it turns the car on again. This is again for the sake of efficiency. In my opinion, it's a bit of a harsh cutoff. So, okay, if you just heard that. Sometimes when you're sitting in still traffic, you're gonna feel the car shake a bit. And it can be a little bit intrusive in terms of the driving experience of the car, but if you're, again, driving this in city traffic, you have it in comfort mode or Eco Pro mode, trying to save gas, I doubt you would mind the vibrations that the car makes when the car shuts on and off. Every time I give my friends a ride, they always mention, like, did you install something in here? I'm like, no, this is BMW factory sound system. So again, everything that you can ask for in terms of a good, solid daily driver, comfortable, easy to drive, but also fast when you want it to be. Leather seats, heated seats, especially if you live in a tri-state area like me. A solid infotainment system, rear view camera. Biggest factor, it's $10,000. So let's put that into perspective. Normal BMWs nowadays, if you want to get one off the showroom floor, they're going to be upwards of $40,000 guaranteed, right? Unless you want some run-of-the-mill basic bare bones model, which nobody wants, because then it wouldn't really be a BMW at the end of the day. And that's the thing about modern car buyers nowadays. That's one thing that slightly confuses me, because this is a 2013 model, and I don't find it to be that drastically different than a brand new model, aside from looks and the fact that you feel like you're driving something new, and aside from the fact that you can tell your friends and family, hey, I got a brand new 2020 whatchamacallit. So it's interesting. This video I'm making is more so an exercise in terms of human behavior for purchasing cars versus actually, hey, reviewing this and telling everybody go and conduct this life hack and buy a $10,000 BMW that you'll never have problems with. Again, every car is different. It's a used car. Hopefully you get something that hasn't been too highly modified or driven hard by the previous owner, which is again difficult because BMW drivers, well, we all know the stereotypes. We don't use our turn signals, nor do we care about speed limits, and we all think we're Tony Stewart or Lewis Hamilton behind the wheel. It is a give or take, because you have the safety and comfort of knowing you have a new car when you buy a new car, and it'll work just fine. But at the same time, you're spending 4 to 5 times more money for something that's essentially the same, in my opinion. I'm not really high maintenance in terms of the car that I drive day to day. I do have a specific interest in the cars that I like to track. For example, my RX-7 track car that I take to Englishtown for drift days and other shenanigans. But for this, I need to scout locations for filming. I need to get around town. I need to do groceries. I need to, you know, take girlfriends out on dates, and I need to visit family. I don't want to do that when my ears are ringing from a loud exhaust constantly screaming behind my head. And this doesn't do any of that. This is not uncomfortable to drive. See, right now I'm sitting in horrible Hoboken traffic, and I'm okay with it just because of the fact that it's not a chore to get in and out of town. Going down the spec list, right, we have 240 horsepower, 260 foot-pounds of torque. Again, BMW's X-Drive, which is another name for the all-wheel drive. Decent throttle response, extremely smooth, no complaints. You can get on it when you want to. You can put it in sport mode. It's just a really good car to drive. It's not slow to the point where it's boring, but it's not so fast to the point where it's overly aggressive and you feel reckless on the road. And you feel out of touch with the rest of the traffic that you're driving behind or in front of. That's the problem with a lot of these extremely fast cars, or even if you have an extremely fast and modified car like a 2JZ Supra, you're going to be out of sync with the rest of the traffic on the road because it's so insanely fast. This isn't. This is a very well-equipped, good daily driver that has 5 seats that can fit 5 people comfortably. Maybe if you move the seat up in the front a little bit. Again, heated seats, you got leather trim, everything that you can ask for. It feels premium. You feel like you're driving something luxurious when you get in the car. And on top of that, when you want to have a little fun, you can just pop it, boom, into sport mode, and off you go. You instantly notice the revs shoot all the way up, you downshift, and you're just off. And I'll go ahead and switch the camera angles for you guys so you get a glimpse of what the dash is saying to me when I drive the car generally. Alright, gonna try out sport mode now, right? We're in comfort. Revs are around 2,000 or 1.5. Automatically revs up, 3,000. Everything gets a little bit more responsive and a lot more fast, right? Then we can drop it back down, comfort mode, 2,000 revs. And there you go, Pro. It goes down to 1.5. That was fun. Let's do that again. Oh man. Alright. You got a hard left, so got a brake. Best time for sport mode? Merging. Yay! Oh, and we have a toll. Party poopers. As soon as you get your foot on the pedal, it's instantly torquey. that much more of a difference. Now let's go to a parking garage with cooler lighting, and I'll go through some of the creature comforts, if you will, of the car. Okay, turning the car on. Turn on the heated seats because it's a bit cold out today. Navigation. You can turn the dial on the center console to zoom in and out of navigation. You have media. Right now I have my iPhone connected via USB. Swipe over, Neal's iPhone. No problemo. Don't want to get copyrighted. So overall it has everything you want, even a CD player nowadays, which is pretty much obsolete. Go into the menu, you have all these different settings. CD, multimedia, telephone navigation, right? And you have the different settings here. You can put the car in sport mode, comfort mode, and Eco Pro. Efficiency, dynamics, consumption history. So yeah, there's tons of nerdy stuff that you can do. You can see I'm averaging 22 miles a gallon right now. You have the cameras here. Turn it down, turn it up. For example, if I reverse, it automatically goes into here. And you can see a 360 view of where I'm driving. So here I'm backing out the spot. Also allows you to perfectly park within the lines of a parking spot, which I sort of have an weird obsession with, actually. But you get the drift, and after a certain mile per hour, or after you're in drive for a certain amount of time, the screen automatically goes away like that. So fun fact, my favorite thing about the car is a little bit quirky. It's actually the key. So the car actually has keyless entry, and it prevents the driver from having to touch the key at all times when operating the vehicle or getting in and out. And the actual sound it makes when the latches go up and down for the locks, it's an extremely satisfying feeling. Actually, here, let's take a listen real quick. One more time. Yeah. Anyway. I mean, everything you want in a car. And how much is it? 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand, $10,000. Switch it over to payments and you're making about, what, $200 a month? It's an insane value for what you get. See, there's not much to say about this car other than the fact that it's just a great deal, and you're not missing out on much by buying an older car versus a new one. Which brings me to my next point. Since this is a 2013 BMW 3 Series, the sky's the limit in terms of the aftermarket. There's a couple things I don't like. The exhaust leaves a lot to be desired. It's a bit raspy, or wheezy is a better name for it. The car itself, the engine, when it's idling, it sounds like a diesel engine, which is kind of weird. I don't like how it idles or how it sounds at all. So maybe you can get downpipes and exhaust and it might make the car overall sound and feel cooler. Power wise, if you want to chip the car and get a tune along with the piping, go nuts. I'm sure you can extract 400 horses out of this thing if you're clever enough. I guess you're giving up some of the reliability for that. And in my opinion, the front end is a little bit too snout-nosed for me. It's weird looking. Again, 3 Series BMW, there's tons of other options in the aftermarket for bumpers, lips, what have you. And you can see here, 330i, brand new 2020. Looks pretty cool. Driving next to it, it's about the same size as this car. I do have a thing for black cars, and that looks really cool to me. Again, I can't justify the price of that thing versus this, which is pretty much the same, and I'm sure it feels the same. I'm sure they made some minor tweaks to fuel delivery and timing to sort of make the car more efficient for miles per gallon, but I can't really see how much of a difference it would be versus this. Okay, so let's try something different out here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna build the same car online, and we're gonna see how much it comes out to. Now I'm gonna have the same features added on, because obviously when you build the BMWs, there's a lot of different accessories and bundles and whatnot that you can add on, navigation, different types of interior trims, etc. that can sort of shoot up the price. So let's go to the BMW website. M8 looks cool, especially in that color. So build your own. A bunch of cars they have. So we're going to the 3 Series. You can see the sedan actually has the updated look versus the coupe, so that's cool. Start there. And this is what I mentioned about BMW having all these different models to choose from for a specific series. So obviously you have the base model 330i sedan, rear wheel drive, and you have the fastest one, I guess, which is the M340i xDrive. I do have a 328i xDrive, so the closest thing would be this one, 330i xDrive sedan. Now I don't really need these different trims. Actually, I do have the chrome finishes here, but in order to keep things fair, I guess I'll just keep the basic sport line because the chrome window trim is still, and then the chrome grille. The luxury trim, let's see what it does. Yeah, changes up the bumper slightly, but let's keep things fair. Keep it simple. Keep the chrome window trim. Let's see what M Sport looks like though, just for fun. Wow, that's cool. Gigantic wheels. Okay. Basic one. Color. I wonder if they still have that pewter looking color that I have on my car right now. Maybe bronze metallic would be it. I think Vermont bronze. It's a little bit too brown for me. Again, I'm making this car to make it as closely related to my current 328i as possible, so bear with me. Some things might be different, obviously, since this is a 2020 model, 7 years newer than mine. But that's, again, the closest color that we have to match my current car. Wheels. Now, I did mention earlier that living in the tri-state area, the roads are horrible because we do get snow in the winter and then it cracks up the pavement and we have potholes. So last thing I want to do is add bigger wheels with smaller tires that ends up damaging the wheels every time I hit a bump or a pothole or something. So I usually tend to stick to smaller wheels for a daily driver with a little bit meatier tire. That way it can absorb some of the impact of these harsh roads that we drive on. So let's keep the all-season run flats. Upholstery. I do have the light brown interior, so mocha, I don't think that'll be it. Popular one is cognac. Yep, that's the one. Not entirely sure if it's gonna look that good, but again, we're not actually buying this car. And the different trims in terms of the interior paneling. Let's see, fine wood, open pore. Yeah, I'll go with the higher gloss one. That looks closer to my spec I have right now. Okay, featured packages. This is where things get expensive. Now, my car does have the rear view camera, and I also have the blind spot detection where my steering wheel will vibrate if I turn the signal on and the camera senses somebody in my pre-quarter view. Let's just take a look at what the features are, right? Driving assistant, fine. Blind spot detection, I do have that in the car where my steering wheel does vibrate, and there's a triangular LED light in my mirror if I'm not mistaken. Yep, exterior mirror to warn you. Slight vibration in the steering wheel. Yep, I do have that. Keyless entry, LED headlights, included features. So remove, okay, so I already have this. Premium, let's see what this is. Front and rear heated seats, I'll take that. I don't really need the active driving assist. Just for fun, we can see what else is included here. Live cockpit, the really cool looking 12.3-inch screen. That is pretty cool, but again, not worth. Gesture control, yeah. Heated laser lights. I mean, all this is cool, but it's not really worth $6,000 to me, so we'll leave that alone. Additional packages, again, don't need this, don't need this. This would be cool because I like driving the crap out of my car, but let's leave that alone for now. Live cockpit, for the price of a brand new iPhone 11 Pro, you can get a screen where your tachometer would be. I already have heated seats all around. Ambient lighting. Ambient lighting, I do have that, so that's part of the convenience package. Accessories, moving on here. Accessories. Drive analyzer, we don't really need that. Coat hanger. This is an interesting quirk that I do have in my car. Coat hanger. So let's add that in. Rubber floor liner, definitely need that. Again, I live in the tri-state. Here we are, 2023 30i xDrive sedan. Price as built, $47,715. Now I'm assuming this is all including destination and handling, but not including tax, so you can add in a few more $1,000 on top of this price. So yeah, $48,710 for a similar spec 3 Series to the one I have now, which is again 5 times cheaper than this. Is it worth it? Is it not? You guys let me know. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, or comment and tell me why my video sucks. I'm more than willing to hear your feedback. Keep in mind, this is a brand new BMW. You know, you would have all the support of having a warranty on it, and I'm assuming it would just feel nice driving a newer car. But again, that's if you have the budget for it. By all means, do it. But if not, you can get the same car that's a few years older for literally a fifth of the price. There you go. So what does that mean? I mean, should you never buy a new car ever again? Of course not. Me personally, I would love to buy a brand new 911, but obviously the budget is just not there right now. But for those of us who are the average driver, you know, you just want to get to and from work, but you also want to do it in a nice car and feel nice getting in and out of the car, you should always look into the used car market and see what's out there. Obviously, when it comes to BMWs, these cars are, you know, driven pretty hard by the enthusiasts, and BMW enthusiasts, we know how these guys are. In my opinion, I think this is definitely something that people should look into, especially in the market for getting a newer car and they don't really want to spend $50,000 or have payments $900 a month. Something to look into. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.